Hello and welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. I am your host, Christine Innes. I am so delighted to have the very beautiful Joelle joining us on the show today. Welcome, lovely.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're all the way over the other side of the world, and I absolutely love having international guests because this is like the power of stories. Like it just is intercontinental. Like it just takes us anywhere. So thank you so much for being here today.
Of course, of course.
I
Thank you.
look, most of my people know that I get super carried away and I've got so many questions actually that I want to ask you, but I'm just going to
Okay.
take a breather and
Mhm.
I would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Oh, absolutely. So I am Joelle, and I'm a confidence and wellness coach. I've been doing this for about a year. I'm also a jewelry designer, and I just started a nonprofit called Show Me the Truth. So mental health is a big part of my life. I consider myself a rock and roll girl, so that scene is very pretty much, I mean, it's important to talk about mental health in the rock and roll scene just because of, everybody knows what it's like. So I started a nonprofit for mental health and I also started life coaching and it's been fantastic.
I love it. And you, just before we came on camera, like we were talking about, look, this is one of my very favorite scenes. It's like perfectly imperfect because I think, you know, like if we just look at, obviously the rock and roll lifestyle, we look at even business owners, but also just women. Like we strive for perfection so
Yep.
often, but it's unattainable.
It's unattainable. It absolutely is. And that's so funny because I have perfectly imperfect
I
tattooed on my
love
arm.
it.
Yeah, it's my favorite motto.
Yeah.
And it's just so important because, like you said, especially with women, we have such high standards to uphold to. And you got to look a certain way, you got to act a certain way, you got to make sure that if your hormones are off, you're not an asshole. Like, sorry, I don't know if I can cuss,
No,
but
you
you know what
can.
I
Yeah,
mean?
it's all
Like,
good. Yeah.
yeah. You have to kind of, be on top of your game. You have to be
Yeah.
successful. If you want to be a mother, you have to be the best mother. And it's, men have it tough too. And I'm not just discrediting that, but I think
Yeah.
that because women are more sensitive to it, it takes a toll on them a little more.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a Middle Eastern culture, so it was very to the T. You have to look pretty, your body needs to be nice, you
Yeah.
have to dress well, you have to have makeup on, you have to get married to a nice Middle Eastern man who should have money. You need to be a mom of at least three kids. Like there is
Yeah.
very traditional, and I swayed the
Yeah.
complete opposite way. So
Yeah.
it's been a very interesting road, and my story isn't necessarily unique, which is kind of why I feel like it's important because so many women, I think, have similar stories. And had I met somebody that was able to walk me through being okay not wanting to get married and not wanting kids and having my own independent life, I think it would have been a little bit easier for me to get to where I am now.
Yeah. This is why I think like sharing our stories is super important. I mean, obviously, back in the days, like we all used to sit around and we used to share stories and, pass down traditions and, folklores and stuff like that. But for me, what I'm sort of feeling right now is like when we share our stories, we are literally shining a light for other people to show them what's possible, but also to showing them that it's okay to take that path that's less traveled. And maybe that's a pathway that nobody's ever gone down before, or maybe very few. And let's actually shine that light on that pathway to let them know that there's an option as well.
That's an option, and that could also be the best option for you.
Yeah.
Had I considered what my parents wanted for me, which they always want the best, right? Most parents want the best for
Yeah.
their kids, so their intentions are never bad. But had I considered that path, I never felt like I wanted to be a mom. I felt like I had to be. So, had I
Mm,
gone down that path, I don't think that I would be as happy as I am. And I mean, life is tough, right? There's ups and
yeah.
downs no matter what path you choose. But had I maybe gone down that path, I don't necessarily know if I would be who I am today. And I just love who I am today and what
Yeah.
I've gone through to get here. So,
Yeah.
it's pretty much that kind of concept. I don't know.
Yeah. So our current issue of the Corporate Escapist magazine is all around self-love. And I really think that, what are some of the practices that you've had to implement to be able to really truly love who you are today? Given
Ooh.
obviously like the pressures that you've had and you've taken an alternative pathway as well.
The main thing I've had to do is remind myself not to be so hard on myself. Remind myself that I'm not perfect and that it's okay to not be perfect.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things is, so, I can be completely honest and say that I have body dysmorphia. And, working out for me was strictly to get to a body where I needed. I needed to look like this. I needed to, and as I got older, I came to terms with the fact that no matter how hard I work out, no matter what I eat or what I don't eat, I will never be a Victoria's Secret model, period, right? So I needed to start to figure out how to love my curves. And I realized I switched my mindset to I'm not going to, because I do work out a lot. I work out probably 4 to 6 days a week. And I had to switch my mentality of I'm not going to the gym because of to change my body. I'm going to the gym to release what's in my head and just let all of life kind of it's my focus point. It's my stress reliever.
Yeah.
And so little things of just shifting, like you're allowed to make you're instead of being so hard on myself, like I messed up in a podcast and I stuttered and oh my God, like so embarrassing. I just have to switch my mind and say, you know what? Fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
so what? So
Yeah.
nobody else like stutters and nobody else, does certain things and says things
Exactly.
wrong or looks, it's just really trying to switch your mindset. Anytime you think you messed up, that
Mhm.
same time you say to yourself, it's okay that I messed up. Shit,
Yeah.
I messed up. Okay, well, I did mess up. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to die because of it. And
Mhm.
let's move forward. And, so
Exactly.
it's more of a shift in the mind, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that like there's this is what we should be teaching people, especially like with business owners, because we make multiple decisions like on an hour, like every single
Right.
hour, there's so many decisions we need to make. And we are going to sometimes not make the best decisions, but also too, it's the decision that we make is only by the information that we have at that right time.
Correct.
So the pressure really means that, we can look back and we can go, oh my God, I shouldn't have made that decision, or I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have said that. But that's the information that you had back then, not what you have right now.
Correct. And also, it's a learning point at that point on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I should have done this, but I'm a firm believer of what is for you will not pass you. I also have that tattooed on me. I'm like a walking
I love
postcard. Um, uh, that's what my boyfriend says, a walking postcard or a walking post-it. So I have a tattoo that says, "What is for you will not pass you."
Yeah.
And that got me through so much because I always like there was always some sort of regret there, right? But
Mm,
your life is you get to choose your life, but and the path that you want to go on, you do get to choose that. But I believe that the decisions you make are going to lead to where you're supposed to be
yeah.
eventually, whether they're good decisions or bad decisions, like whether you mess up or not, you're going to get to where you need to be with the decision that you made, good or bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was reminded last night, my spiritual coach, and we were talking, and, obviously, we talk about divine timing and we talk about like, all that sort of stuff. I'm the most impatient person in the world. And I'm like going, oh, come on. Like, I just want it now, you know. But like you're saying, like sometimes we have to go through those good, those bads, those ups and downs for us to actually learn a lesson, or to sometimes it's even just to humble us along the way. And I think also that
Absolutely.
comes back to the self-love, the self-forgiveness, the self-worth that we have within ourselves as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just saw something on Instagram. I sent it to, or somebody sent it to me, or I sent it to somebody, but it was two balls, and like there was one ball going down a straight path, and there was another ball going down a rounded path. And the point was, is they still got to the same place. And sometimes ball that goes up and down gets to it faster,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you just have to remind yourself that life is unpredictable and you're doing your best.
Yeah, absolutely. What
You're
would you
doing your
say is
best.
one of the biggest lessons that you've learned with being in business?
One of the biggest lessons I've learned is how different people are.
Mm,
Um, I think everybody's different, but when I work with my coaching clients, everybody has different mindsets. Everybody's issue maybe or goals are different, but somehow, some way they still get to where they need to go, right? But
yeah.
everybody, their paths, the way they get there is different.
Yeah.
But there is one thing I noticed that's in common is that I give them sometimes I'll have like a an exercise with them called mirror exercise, and it's either you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning or you look at yourself in the mirror at night and you say one thing that you're proud of. It
Mm,
could even be as simple as I like the way I did my eyeliner today. Like I'm proud of the way I did my eyeliner today. Or, I'm proud that I got up and went to the gym. Or I'm proud that I made this decision at work or that I didn't make this decision at work. And for whatever reason, it works on everybody.
mm.
Everybody feels better about that after they've done it for at least a week. So it's interesting how people are so different, but then sometimes one thing makes them the same
Yeah. Yeah.
you know it's just
Yeah.
it's a challenge to get people to believe in themselves,
Yeah.
but it's beautiful when they actually end up believing in themselves. It's like one of the most beautiful, and I just love it. It just makes me feel so good.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could go back when you first started, like making the decision of choosing the different pathway, what little pep talk would you have given to yourself back then?
um why, like, don't wait as I so I think I probably would have told myself not to wait as long as I did.
Yeah.
So the pep talk would have been, this is what you need to do. Why are you waiting? Do it
Mm,
now. You've got this, and in your heart this is what needs to be done. I waited a lot longer than I should have to switch from being a jewelry designer to a coach, a life coach.
yeah.
Um, but I was still figuring myself out, right? Like maybe I didn't have the confidence at that
Yeah.
point to be able to help somebody, even though I was good at what I did,
Yeah.
regardless, because I was helping other people just by talking to them. And that's what I've heard. So it was very
Yeah.
bittersweet, but it was
Yeah.
it was probably the best thing I could have done for myself.
Yeah. If somebody's watching this right now and they're in that sort of crossroads of life, what would you say to them? Like, because I mean, both you and I obviously got experiences. We understand what's on the other side. I always say the grass is not always greener, but you can make it green. Like you can, you choose what you want to water, choose what you want to tend to in your own garden, to make it flourish. But what would
And
you
you also
say
don't know
to
if it's greener until you get there,
That's
right?
it. Exactly. I love
Yeah,
that. I love
yeah, you have to
that.
get there to figure out whether or not it's green. You can't
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When you look back on sort of like your journey, is there a couple of things that you have found like within yourself, like your confidence or your, self-esteem, like all that sort of stuff? What has changed the most internally?
Oh, my self-worth and my self-confidence for sure.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's a very it's a crazy ride that I've been on. Like, I mean, it's not where I thought I'd ever be. I Just a quick little story. I throw a charity event called Midnight Wonderland, and it started off as a backyard party at my parents' house. Like just like 2016, 2017, I had about 40, 50 people in the backyard. I didn't even live there at the time, but I just had them all go to my parents' house. They brought a bunch of donations and I sent them off to the Midnight Mission. And somehow, some way, from 2016 to about 2021, that little party turned into a concert at one of the most famous venues in West Hollywood called the Whiskey A Go Go, right?
Wow.
So I always like when I was a young kid, like I said, rock and roll was always like such an important thing in my life. And so I would always go to these concerts and the whiskey, and I never ever thought that I would be on stage throwing a charity event at the Whiskey A Go Go where the Doors got their first, big break, and Zeppelin and Guns N' Roses and all of these amazing bands. And I'm over here doing something that's essentially very, good for humanity, I hope. And it just is one of those things where it looking back, I would have never thought I could do that.
Yeah.
And now that I'm doing it, I can't even fathom what else I can do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's such a beautiful concept and a
Yeah.
beautiful way to live life when you do believe in yourself.
Yeah,
But it
absolutely.
may not happen right away, you know?
Well, no, look, it's taken me, yeah, I'm nearly 50, so it's taken me a long time to, to get that confidence, like
You
within
look great, by the way.
myself. Oh, thank you. So, I think, a lot of people go, oh, I should have done this when I was in my 20s. I should have done this in my 30s. But I honestly think that, like when it's going to happen, it's going to happen at that right time. And if we try to force it, we're going to miss some really important lessons in life as
That's the
well.
point. That's the exact point. You could miss important lessons because
Yeah.
what if it did start at 20 and, something went wrong? Like, and maybe it wasn't your time, but you forced something. Again, that's a part of the process of your life, but
Mm,
maybe you just weren't supposed to take that path right then and there.
yeah.
So yeah, it just depends. It's just crazy how life is just so beautiful and crazy and awkward and
Yeah.
amazing and scary and all the things, but it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yes. Yeah, one of the things that I love, like what you were just saying, is like we actually need to learn to feel all the feelings, because if we start denying ourselves and we only want the good feelings, then we actually don't know how to then process the not so good times. But then also too, if we don't process those not so good times, we actually can't really truly appreciate those really amazing times as
Correct.
well. So, how are you like processing? How do you celebrate, the highs and lows as well?
How do I celebrate? By starting another event? Like I just I'm like, oh my God, this one was a success. Let's celebrate by making another one and stressing myself out.
Yeah.
Um, I think I just, I don't know if I necessarily celebrate in the sense of that, but I just remind myself that I've come a long way.
Yeah.
Um, and that for me, celebrating is just being present and continuing to work towards loving myself and continuing
Yes.
to be kind to myself. So I think
Yes.
that that's probably the best celebration and also stressing myself to make different events. So.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Joelle,
so.
how can people work with you?
Oh
It's
yeah. If you're interested, please come to check out my website. It's called imperfectrockstar.com. And you can I have a thing called a 20-minute vibe. So you can set a 20-minute phone call with me, Zoom call, and test the vibe and see if you and I connect. Because sometimes we may not,
yeah.
sometimes my coaching is not for a certain person, and that's okay. So let's test each other out and see if we work together. We can work together fine. And then, or if you want to just follow me on my Instagram, it's JUJU_JOWELL, Joelle. So that's my nickname and my first name. So yeah, and I post a lot of captions that I think people like to read because I kind of get deep in that.
Yeah.
So you kind of can get to know me on that level through my personal Instagram. But give me a call or email me, Joelle at imperfectrockstar.com, all of the stuff.
We're going to pop all the links to
Yep.
Instagram and also to your website below as well so people can reach out to you. I
Love it.
just think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts on the show today with us. Before you go, we love to ask our guests 5 random questions, just as a
Yep.
bit of fun, get to know you with it. So if you're ready, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay,
Ready.
cool. So if you've got some spare time, would you prefer to watch a movie or curl up with a book?
Book.
Okay, yeah. Do
Yeah.
you like a Kindle or do you like to have the physical book?
It needs to be a physical book. But
Yeah,
to be fair, I don't even like to be like, I love reading, but I don't, for whatever reason, like reading at home. So when I do feel like I want to choose between the two, I go to a coffee shop or I go to a bar, have a glass of wine while I read, maybe some
yeah,
dinner. I love doing stuff like that alone. It's my
yeah.
favorite,
I love
being out in
that.
public. Yeah.
Yeah, I take the dog to the beach and put the blanket down and we just sit there and I just read the book. So yeah, I love it.
The
So
best. It's the
yeah,
best. So would you prefer reading than a movie?
I do. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have a movie on in the background, like because I've got to have background noise. So I'll have the background noise on and then read. So yeah, I think that's an ADHD sort of thing. So I got to have multiple things
That's
happening.
all right. Yeah, whatever works, whatever works. That's
Cool.
hilarious.
And if you could travel to your favorite destination, would you prefer to travel by plane or by boat?
Plane, I'd get seasick.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
older I get, the more I love flying. I don't know why.
yeah.
It's like my whole vacation is just being at the airport and being on the plane and I'm happy. I know it's so weird.
Yeah. The people watching is amazing when you're sitting there at the airport and you just like look at everybody. And so, yeah,
It's so
I love it.
fun.
It is so
Yeah.
fun. So, you're going to have a dinner party and you're allowed to invite one guest, and that guest can be from the present or from the past. Who would you choose?
Oh, wow. Oof.
It'd be a tough one for you.
There is one person that comes to mind. And I don't really know why this person comes to mind, but I'm just going to say it because I feel like there's a reason. And I feel like after we hang up, I'm going to start thinking about why, and
Yeah.
it's going to make more sense. But Lucille Ball.
Oh, wow. Yes.
I love Lucy.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. I thought you were going to say like Bob Dylan or something like that, but yeah, no, that's cool. I love it.
Yeah, you would think. I
Absolutely.
thought I was going to say some sort of rock star,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, no, Lucy. Lucy, I love her. She's
Okay.
fantastic. Cher too.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Cher is fantastic. I can learn so
Yeah.
much from her. She's my favorite. I don't know why I
Yeah.
would say Cher first.
No, that's okay. No, no, no. We're just going to go with our gut instincts,
Love
whatever
it.
comes up first. I love
Yeah. Yeah, I think
it.
because I was thinking about people that passed away that I would be harder to get. So that's
Yeah.
probably why I said Lucy.
Yeah.
But if it was in the present, I would say 100% Cher. I love her.
Yeah. Cool. And if you could describe yourself in one word, what would it be?
Kind.
Mm,
Yeah.
beautiful. I love it.
Sometimes it's too much. You know what I mean? Sometimes you really have to have boundaries, and that's something that I've learned the hard way.
Mm,
But learning that you are allowed to have boundaries and still be kind has been an experience for sure. But
yes.
I overall I'm kind, I think. That's what
Yeah.
people tell me, and I feel like I just have a lot of empathy.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that vibe from you.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much, beautiful, for being here. Absolutely love this conversation. If anyone who is watching this is not kind to themselves, who needs, somebody to help guide them, reach out to Joelle. Like I said, we're going to pop all the details of how you can connect with her on Instagram and also on her website as well. But thank you again, beautiful. Absolutely loved
Thank
this
you
conversation today.
so much. I had such a nice time with you. I appreciate you having me. So give
My
me a call
absolute.
if you need anything.
Absolutely. Well, I'm hoping to get over to the States next year, so I will give you a call. So,
Yes,
yes,
absolutely. Let's go. Let's go have some dinner and I'll
yes.
take you out. That's so fun.
Okay, sounds
Ah,
amazing. Amazing. Thank you to
exciting.
everyone who has watched this episode today. I hope you have enjoyed it. Remember to live life to the fullest every single day. Love and
You're worth
light.
it.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God. I'm gonna add that in now every single time because yes, you are worth it, girlfriend. Absolutely.
Yes.
So Thank you so much, everybody. And remember, drop all your comments below, reach out, connect, hit that like and subscribe button. And like Joel just said, you are worth it. Love and light to you all. Bye.
Bye.